Hey everybody, this is the Outrigger bundle. The Outrigger bundle consists of 2 Outriggers, along with 2 ripstops and 2 rail hangers. When you buy this and they are shipped to you, the ripstop and the rail hanger will be installed inside the leg. And so you just need to remove that and then put it on the outside of the leg and secure that with a 5/32 inch or 4mm Allen wrench. So remember, that's how they come to you. Same thing with the ripstop, that just goes in here, and you're going to use that in the side of the frame a little bit later on. So the Outrigger is a very simple thing to operate. We've got 2 knobs, and all you need to do is just loosen that a little bit. Really only less than 1 turn. Sometimes you might want to just try putting your foot there and then just pivot that up till it stops. Tighten the knobs and you're ready to go. So for installation on the dashboard, we have a set of special holes for our key bolts that are going to correspond to the bottom track on the bench. And let's just take a quick look at the underside of this. So we have some spacers here that we're using to make room for the knob in relation to the bottom of the rail here. So these are shipped to you loose, and they help control the movement of the T-bolt. So what I recommend is getting some adhesive and just attaching it there before you get going. Tighten it up and then wait for that to set. And then every time you go to use this, these will be easy to control as you loosen them and tighten them to install and remove the Outrigger. So the way we put this on the bench is we're just going to come around here. I'll just pop those out a little bit of the way there and then slide this on. And get this other one. Okay, make this even with the end. And then you do want to use a straight edge or something, because you're going to fine tune the adjustment of this as you tighten the knobs. And so, because there is a little bit of vertical adjustment with the T-bolt and the track, so you can fine tune the alignment of the planes of these 2 tops. And then you would use the leg levelers as necessary to adjust the outside of the Outrigger to keep everything in plane. So that is how you install these. These are the same width as the bench is, so you can put them on the end of the bench as well to just extend the length. So something to mention is the tops are MDF, just like our bench tops. So just as with the bench tops, I recommend sealing these with whatever finish you're comfortable with. And so to protect them from moisture and maybe glue strips or some other staining drips, anything, just keep them looking nice. Now, the rip stops just mount on the side here, and these are going to be adjustable stops that you use when you are using our long rip configuration, where you would have your guide rail located here, and you would be running the saw along here to make long cuts off the edge of the bench. And the blade will be between the Outrigger and the bench, so you'll never cut either of them. And that's a very simple setup that we'll cover in another video. But another thing to mention is you can use our door and panel supports on the Outriggers just like on the benches. And then we have this item called the rail hanger, and you'll get 1 on each Outrigger. And so the point of that is it gives you a place to store your guide rail in between sheets of material that you might be loading and unloading from the bench. So let's say I'm finished cutting one particular sheet and I'm going to bring in another sheet. I need somewhere handy to put my rail while I'm not using it, but also in a convenient spot. So I can just drop it on to the rail hangers, and it's held there. It's handy, but it's out of the way as I'm changing materials. And then simply lift and pull away, and then I'm ready to go the next time I want to use it. So that is a brief summary of the Outrigger. Now, the Outrigger will mount on your MFT3. But depending on the conditions in the floor, wherever you're setting up, you might need to shim the MFT3 up slightly. Okay, here we are looking at the underside of the Outrigger. I have it mounted on the MFT3. So you can see here, I've used the mounting hardware in this slotted hole that we provided. There's one on that side too. And you'll take a quick look. I've used the spacer that I mentioned earlier in between the knob and the inside of the Outrigger, just to push the knob out a little bit, make it a little bit easier to grab. Now, you can set this up by gluing the knob on here or not, and you still have flexibility to raise and lower the Outrigger relative to the top of the Festool table to fine tune that planing out of the two things, because there's space in the width of the slot on the side of the MFT3 to move the hardware up and down a little bit. So this is how simple it is to mount the Outrigger on the MFT3. Okay, I've put together a representation of a bench frame you might have built using T-slot extrusion. This is 4080 series. 1530 is another good choice. Do not use 10 series. This assumes that you are using a 3/4 inch or 18 millimeter thick bench top, which is represented here. So it's no problem to get the Outrigger to plane out with that. And because you would use the mounting hardware in the slotted holes on the inside of the front of the frame. You do have quite a bit of adjustment, assuming that your bench top is generally not lower than 35.5 inches or about 902 millimeters. You can go up from there, but that's roughly the lowest point you would want to do. And so it's very easy to slide the Outrigger on and off, and super secure once you're in place.